Next is Zohran Mamdani.
My name is Assemblymember Zohran Mamdani, and I am running to make the city affordable. I'll freeze the rent for millions of tenants, make buses fast and free, and deliver universal childcare. And before you ask, I'll pay for it by taxing the rich. The same billionaires who put Donald Trump back in the White House, the same ones who are funding Andrew Cuomo's campaign. Like many New Yorkers, I wasn't born in this country, but I grew up in this city, and it's one that we're in danger of losing. We're under attack from authoritarianism from the outside and an affordability crisis from the inside. Yet if you turned on your television 20 years ago, you'd have heard the same tired, failed policies you'll hear from politicians tonight. It's time for a new generation of leadership. And that's exactly what my campaign is building. A movement of more than 36,000 volunteers who have knocked on nearly 1 million doors and left us just 2 points away from City Hall. So join us, and let's win a New York you can afford.
Next is Andrew Cuomo.
Good evening, and thank you all very much for having me here today. I do have a very famous parent who I'm very proud of, Matilda Cuomo, and I hope she's watching. Everyone has a plan, as you've heard. Everyone always has a plan. That's always the way. But the question for tonight is, who has the ability to get the job done? That's really the question. Who can build housing? I built housing across the nation as HUD secretary. I built LaGuardia Airport, Kosciuszko Bridge, 2nd Avenue Subway, and more. Who can do public safety? While my colleagues were defunding the police, I was adding more police. Who can manage the city? I manage the state that has double the budget of New York City. And who can take on Donald Trump? That is the big question. And he sent troops into cities all across this country, but he never sent them into New York when I was there, and he never will when I am mayor. A job looks easy when you haven't done it. Experience matters. I will get the job done. I will work for you 24/7.
Thank you for your opening statements, candidates. Mr. Cuomo, many New Yorkers are concerned about what's happening in Los Angeles. Workplace immigration raids and deportations, protests with some violence, the president's deployment of the National Guard and the Marines over the objection of the governor and the mayor. The Trump aide Stephen Miller said the mayor has no say. If you were mayor of New York right now, how would you handle this situation if something like that happened here?
Yeah, we had this situation before, right? This is not a case of first impression. President Trump did this and Trump won. He did it a number of times. He sent troops into cities all across the country. This is him being macho, authoritarianism. He's the commander-in-chief. He never sent them into New York because I said to him, you better never send troops into New York. We don't need them. It would be a hostile act. It would be a problem. Right now, in this situation, we're going to protect our immigrants. This is a sanctuary city, and we are going to defend the laws of the sanctuary city. We have an NYPD that is the largest police force in the United States of America. Donald Trump only picks fights that he can win. He cannot win a fight with me.
Yeah, because you're aligned. He also already has a DOJ case on you. You're compromised.
You know, what is so troubling to see right now is we also have the NYPD assisting ICE in some of those very missions right here in New York City. We saw the Strategic Response Group arrest a pastor who was peacefully observing the arrest of a migrant at Federal Plaza. When I am the mayor, the NYPD will serve public safety of New Yorkers. They will not assist Trump's ICE agents. And furthermore, though Donald Trump may not believe in the law, we have to be clear that we do, and we will in fact bring back our law department to its pre-pandemic staffing levels, 200 additional lawyers, and start to provide lawyers for immigrants who are in deportation cases, because we know that by doing so, we in fact increase their likelihood of coming home to their families in New York City by 11 times. Finally, we can see examples in previous mayoral administrations where the mayor's team, like Steve Banks in the last administration, took every single step they could to ensure that none of the personal information the city had would be turned over to the Trump administration. I would follow that example through all of our agencies.
Thank
Say
you.
that he's compromised by the DOJ.
Ms. Adams.
Ooh, big
staying
claps.
on this
You can de-escalate conflict. What Trump wants is to strike fear and escalate conflict. We're going to make clear we stand up for immigrant New Yorkers and we de-escalate and keep the peace. I do want to tell you, though, about some immigrant New Yorkers that Andrew Cuomo screwed when he was governor, and we're defending in my office. A couple of hundred immigrant subway cleaners who he made clean the subway cars but cheated out of the prevailing wages and health care that they were due. We're fighting right now to get it back. I stand up to bullies, and I'll stand up to Donald Trump.
Mr. Cuomo, you were named, so we may not be able to do this every time all night, but you were named, so you get a brief response.
I don't know what Mr. Lander is talking about. The MTA contracted for cleaning services. I assume that's what he's talking about. The MTA goes through a rigorous contracting process. They should never have hired illegal immigrants if it is true. But obviously, I had nothing to do with them hiring.
I'm sorry, is that what you said? What did you call them?
If anyone was undocumented or they didn't pay the proper wages, I had
they're
nothing to do
laughing
with
at him
it.
in the
What
room.
You
you
didn't
with
pay them the
MTA.
proper wages. You cheated them out of the prevailing
No.
wages they were due
No.
and the health care they were due.
I didn't contract with them at all. The MTA contracted
Who
with
appoints
them.
the chair of the MTA?
Oh, I see. So every contract that the MTA contracts, you want me to be held responsible?
This one, yes, because
You get
100 immigrant
Oh!
workers got cheated out of $2.5
He's
million
shirking
and their health care.
responsibility!
And the orders
Bad
came
luck.
from on high.
Yeah, so you
Boomers
said if
hate
they did it,
when
that would
someone
obviously be
just
wrong.
says,
The
it's not
MTA
my
contracts
responsibility.
for $6 billion per year. They have multiple.
Why the f do you want to be mayor then, Jack, if you're not going to be responsible?
Mr. Cuomo, if elected, you would be the oldest person ever sworn in as mayor. If you served 2 full terms, you'd be 76 years old upon leaving office. Is somebody in their 70s the ideal age for holding the second hardest job in America?
Let's do one term at a time if we can. I think you raise a very important point. Experience matters, and I think inexperience is dangerous in this case. Mr. Mondami has had a staff of 5 people. You're now going to run a staff of 300,000.
He never says his last name right, by the way.
He's never dealt with the city council. He's never dealt with the Congress. He's never dealt with the state legislature. He's never negotiated with the union. He's never built anything. He's never dealt with a natural emergency. He's never dealt with a hurricane, with a flood, etc. He's never done any of the essentials. And now you have Donald Trump on top of all of that. And he's never dealt with what I think is the greatest national threat that we face in this president. To put a person in this seat at this time with no experience is reckless and dangerous. To Mr. Lander and his experience, remember, this was the fiscal watchdog under the Eric Adams administration, which was like the bookkeeper at Tammany Hall.
Mr. Mamdani.
To Mr. Cuomo, I have never had to resign in disgrace. I have never cut Medicaid. I have never stolen hundreds of millions of dollars from the MTA. I have never hounded the 13 women who credibly accused me of sexual harassment. I have never sued for their gynecological records, and I have never done those things because I am not you, Mr. Cuomo. And furthermore, the name is Mamdani, M-A-M-D-A-N-I. You should learn how to say it because we got to get it right.
I don't care about your last name. Those women deserved it. I'm Italian. It's my culture.
Mr. Mondami's right. He's never done anything, period.
Mr. Mamdani.
This is a man who
Mamdani. Just say the name right, Mamdani.
This is a man who has done nothing. He's accomplished nothing. 3 bills are all he passed.
City full of immigrants.
He has the worst attendance record in the New York State
City
Assembly.
full of immigrants.
He has
They've
never
all
held
experienced
real
a guy
job.
like Andrew Cuomo
He
up their
zero
name
accomplishments.
deliberately.
I want to be very
And now
clear.
he thinks he's going to be ready to be mayor of the city of New York. It is laughable. It is laughable, and it is dangerous.
I want
really
Mr.
quick, and then we're
Cuomo to
gonna
look
move on.
out into the crowd and look at Richard Chow, who lost his brother to suicide because of the taxi driver debt crisis. I went with Mr. Chow over many, many months organizing to push this very city to finally reckon with its complicity in that. And we won $450 million in debt relief. And I want you to look at him and tell him that that's nothing.
Okay. Let's
You passed
let's move to
Oh, he used personal anecdote. Oh my God. Oh my God, he had a crowd placement personal anecdote. This is where Mamdani is supposed to turn around. This is where Zoran is supposed to turn around and basically be like, listen, experience is negligible because Andrew Cuomo's entire experience amounts to New Yorkers experiencing failure and a quality of life diminishing. We don't want that. That's why I'm running. We need people who are dynamic. We need candidates who are younger. We need candidates who are actually experienced with the life experience of what it's like to be working poor in this city, not someone who comes from a political dynasty that has cursed the New York State and New York City for their entire lives and is directly responsible for all the pain New Yorkers feel in this affordability crisis.
Mr. Cuomo, according to Muslim American organizations, you never made a public visit to a mosque during your 10-plus years as governor. Why the reluctance?
Yeah, I believe I have. I would have to check the record. But let me correct the record here, if I might. The Mr. Mamdani is dangerously.
But wait. Let me ask you about this. Because this was an issue in the 2018 campaign when you were running for re-election, when they said that in 7 years you had never visited a mosque. Did something happen in the several years beyond that?
I believe I have. I know I've participated in many forums with imams. I am not, off the top of my head, I can't tell you where I went, but I'll check the record and I will.
So let me just get to the point then. I mean, what would you say to more than 760,000 Muslims here in the city about whether or not you would reach out to them, make them feel welcome, make them feel protected at a time when...
I would say we are a city of immigrants. I welcome them. I love them. I'm not Mr. Mamdani. I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm not divisive. I didn't say I would boycott Israel. I didn't say I would divest from Israel. I didn't say I would sanction Israel. I don't give forums to anti-Semites.
What does this have to do with...
I don't give forums to extremists who blame America for 9/11. I didn't say that I would boycott Cornell Technion because they're pro-Israel. He is the flip side of the coin of Trump. Trump says he'll boycott Cornell because they're anti-Israel.
Was he talking about me?
He says, I'll boycott Cornell because they're pro-Israel.
The
division is our death in this city, this state, and this nation. And division is what Trump sells. We should be selling unity, not the division that this man is spreading.
Mr. Mamdani.
By the way, question about Islamophobia.
Ridiculous to hear Mr. Cuomo talk about himself as a man of unity when just yesterday we found out that his super PAC was sending mail that artificially darkened and lengthened my beard to stoke the very fears of that division in this city. The reason he doesn't have a message for Muslim New Yorkers is because he has nothing to say to us, because he doesn't see us as if we are every other New Yorker. And ultimately, the campaign that I am running is a campaign that seeks to go beyond the politics of the Trump era, where candidates on the stage describe me as a monster, describe me at the gates, where they say that I am, in fact, the other. This is a campaign to bring people together. It's why we have the support of Jewish and Muslim New Yorkers. It's why we have the support of people across the 5 boroughs.